Hey, Fernando, in this third passage, I got the A-B set. In the first passage, A is talking about how North American common law has sort of a paradox because we got free speech. It's okay for me to say something bad about you. And we generally protect the rights of people to make money. It's okay for me to make money off of you. Why isn't it okay for me to make money off of you by threatening to say something bad about you? And passage B talks about how ancient Rome just sidestepped it. The classical Roman conception was it's illegal if it causes harm. And, saying bad shit about somebody causes them harm. So you just can't do it. So there's no real paradox in ancient Rome because there was no real guarantee of free speech. Okay, central topic of each passage is how a society deals with the question of blackmail, the common law situation in North America today, and the classical Roman convention, how blackmail's been handled in a given legal system. Yep, each of them doing that. For question 15, what does A mean when she talks about the state's chip? And I'm in line 29, and she says, when the blackmailer threatens to turn in a criminal, the blackmailer is bargaining with the state's chip. What does that mean? It means she's taking on the responsibility that doesn't belong to her. It is the state's responsibility to find out about and punish crimes. The state's chip is the state's interest in finding out about and punishing crime. B, the state's legitimate interest in learning about crimes. Oh, and leaves off the punishment part, but that's the other function of the state. All right, question 16, supported by the information in the passages. And we know that A is true. And we already talked about this. We know that A is true because, like line 10, free speech protects my right to make a disclosure. I have a legal right to seek money. Why can't I combine them? That's a paradox. In Roman law, there is no paradox because Roman jurists began their evaluation in line 35 by considering whether the action caused harm. It's not a question of whether or not it was legal or illegal. There's no paradox. It's harmful, so it's wrong. Question 17, asking almost the same question as 16, once again, something that's true about blackmail. In the first passage, it combines the perfectly legal right to speak the truth and the other legal right to earn money. In the U.S. and in Canada, it combines two acts that are each legal separately. In ancient Rome, that was never a question. It wasn't a question of the legality or illegality. The only question was harm. So there is not a presumed legal right to free speech in ancient Rome. And that's kind of the thing that is true about blackmail now that was not true about blackmail in classical Roman days. For 18, something that's legal now that would not have been legal in ancient Rome, well, again, it's that presumption of protected free speech that makes all the difference. I might point to let's look at the very last sentence of passage B. Just because something shameful happened to be true did not mean it was legal to reveal it. So, revealing to the public a prominent politician had once had an adulterous affair, even if it's true, that doesn't mean it's okay. That doesn't mean it's legal for you to talk about it in ancient Rome. Today, if it's true, yes, you do have the legal protection to talk about it. So there's something we know for sure would have been legal today, would not have been legal in Rome. Finally, for question 19, we want an analogy. And in our passages, what we've got is, in passage A, you generally have the right to say anything that's true. And then we will carve out some exceptions when you don't have that right. In passage B, you generally do not have the presumption of a right to say just anything that is true. You have to carve out the exceptions when it is appropriate for you to say the true thing. In the same way, in answer choice D, you generally have the right in the first country to own guns, except for some exceptions when you don't. And in country B, there's no ban because you generally do not have the right to own guns. except in some cases where you make the exception and you do. And in that same way, they make the gun ownership the equivalent to free speech. In passage A, you generally got the right except in certain accepted circumstances. In passage B, you generally don't have the right unless you can show that it's an accepted circumstance. And now I'm just kind of repeating myself, aren't I? All right, but that's 19, and that finishes this third AB set. So here's the deal with these free videos. They're intended to serve a very narrow purpose. For those times when you're wondering, why is that the right answer? You can just come here for a complete library and find out why it was the right answer. And I hope that you'll find that it was very instructive. Of course, the other part of the deal is that since LSAC publishes all of their tests along with test keys, that means that there's no barrier to entry for test prep. And you can hear the air quotes, I hope. Anybody can, and lots of people have, set up shop and called themselves test prep companies, and they've got the questions, they've got the answer keys, and they just try to explain to you why the right answer is right. And then they charge you money for it? That is wrong. I want to put a stop to it. I want to sweep the legs right out from under them. It is bad for you. It's bad for me too. So if you want to know what the right answer is and why the right answer is right, I want you to be able to come here and find it out for free without paying anybody for it. That's very different from what I do in the paid course. What I think has value about what I do is that I can tell you ahead of time what every question wants from you, what to expect from the right answer, how to formulate a right answer, and then how you can expect wrong answers to sound, so that you know before you ever open up a test book exactly what to expect. And all the practice videos that are part of the paid course are just me putting that theory into practice. It's just the rubber meeting the road. In other words, I'm going to show you, based on what we've done before, how we're going to react when it comes up next time. And that bit, knowing what to do the next time you see something, that I think is worth paying for. And if you agree, I'd love to have you in the course. And if not, that's fine too. Don't pay anybody to explain why right answers are right. Just watch these for free. Enjoy.